generation a lot. Someone said, where do you see Tupac 10 years from now? He said, hey, I just want to be alive. That's real for you.
That's so real.
The fast radio station. The fantastic radio station.
He predicted his own death down to the calendar month. He mapped out his own funeral, the flashing lights of the ambulance, the closing of his eyes, and the silence that would follow. 2Pac Shakur didn't just write music, he wrote audio ghost stories. Listen closely to his final recordings, the ones he released under his dark Machiavellian pseudonym, Machiavelli. In tracks like If I Die Tonight and Bloody Mary, he dissects his own mortality with terrifying clinical precision. He rapped about being hunted, about a grave waiting for him before his 30th year, about walking through a world that wanted him silenced. Was it paranoia? Or was it the chilling clarity of a man who knew he was standing in the crosshairs of history? To understand Tupac is to understand of volatile, breathtaking contradiction. He was a paradox wrapped in a red bandana. He was born into radical politics on June 16, 1971 in East Harlem, New York. His mother, Afeni Shakur, was a fierce, uncompromising Black Panther. She was pregnant with him while facing federal conspiracy charges. She instilled in him a fiery revolutionary consciousness before he could even walk. Tupac grew up surrounded by Black Panther ideology, but also by the crushing poverty, systemic neglect, and harsh realities of America's inner cities. Yet, there was another side to him. In Baltimore, attending the prestigious Baltimore School for the Arts, he wasn't just a street kid. He was an artist who studied ballet, acted in Shakespearean plays, and wrote deeply sensitive poetry about love, social injustice, and pain. He could quote Machiavelli, discuss political theory, and move an audience to tears, all before pivoting into a ferocious, adrenaline-fueled battle rap. By 1996, that duality had curdled into an unyielding, self-destructive rage. Released from prison on a controversial bail bond funded by Death Row Records CEO Marion Suji Knight, Tupac stepped back into a world that had mutated during his incarceration. He felt betrayed by old friends, hunted by institutional enemies, and cornered by an industry. He didn't just live on the edge. He built his house over the abyss, daring anyone from corporate record executives to rival street gangs to push him over. And little did he know, the clock was already winding down to its final bloody seconds. By the mid-1990s, American hip-hop was no longer just a genre of music. It was a high-stakes, multi-million-dollar cultural battlefield, and it was tearing itself apart at the seams. The media and corporate boardrooms had weaponized regional pride. They manufactured and amplified a toxic, fatal narrative, East Coast versus West Coast. At the center of this fabricated war were two giants who had once shared stages and mutual respect. 2Pac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace. What began as creative competition rapidly descended into a paranoid spiral of mistrust. Following the infamous 1994 shooting of Tupac inside a Manhattan recording studio where he was robbed of jewelry and shot 5 times, the atmosphere shifted from fierce rivalry to outright blood feud. Tupac became convinced that figures within the New York hip-hop scene, including Big E and Sean Puffy Combs, had prior knowledge of the ambush. The studio walls echoed with accusations. Diss tracks became declarations of war. Songs like Hit 'Em Up dropped like tactical bombs. Tupac's lyrics grew increasingly hostile, mocking rival crews, challenging entire organizations, and daring the streets to respond. Behind the scenes, the pressure cooker was hissing. Death Row Records was operating like an armed camp under Suji Knight's aggressive management style. Tupac was working at a superhuman manic pace, recording entire albums in days, shooting films, and granting explosive interviews. He was running from his own shadow, fueling his energy with endless studio sessions, armed bodyguards, and a relentless defiance. He felt the net tightening around him. In interviews from that summer, his eyes held a haunting vacancy, the look of a man trapped in a burning building who realizes there are no exits left. The stage was set. All it needed was a spark.
Like it's delirium, ay, like it's delirium, ay, I got delirium, ay, like it's delirium.
The timeline of September 7th, 1996 reads like a Greek tragedy where every single step forward is a march closer to an inescapable doom. It was a blistering Saturday night in Las Vegas, Nevada. The city was vibrating with high roller energy. Thousands had packed the MGM Grand Garden Arena to witness the heavyweight dominance of Mike Tyson as he faced Bruce Seldon. Sitting ringside among Hollywood elite, athletes, and music moguls was 2Pac Shakur, clad in a silk shirt, gold chains, and an unmistakable aura. Tyson dispatched Seldon in a lightning-fast first-round knockout. The arena erupted, spilling thousands of ecstatic fans out into the neon-drenched casino lobby. That is where fate turned its final bloody corner. As Tupac's entourage moved through the bustling crowd, a member of their inner circle spotted Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, an alleged member of the Southside Compton Crips. Weeks earlier, a group of Crips had allegedly jumped a death row associate at a local Foot Locker. Old street grievances flared up instantly. Witnesses later recounted the flashpoint. Someone shouted, "That's one of the Crips who jumped us." Tupac didn't hesitate. True to his street soldier ethos, he lunged forward, throwing the first punch. He led a brutal, chaotic beatdown of Anderson right there on the casino carpet. Security cameras captured the violence in chilling detail. It was impulsive, aggressive, and entirely catastrophic. It was also a death sentence. Instead of retreating or maintaining a low profile, Tupac and his crew brushed off the altercation as just another day in the trenches. They returned to their hotel, changed clothes, and piled into a sleek black BMW 750IL sedan driven by Suge Knight. They headed out to pack the VIP room at Club 662 for a charity event. At around 11 p.m., a Las Vegas police bicycle patrol pulled them over for playing their car stereo too loudly and lacking visible license plates. The officers let them go with a warning. Just minutes stood between Tupac and a completely different timeline. If those bike cops had written a ticket, if they had impounded the car, history might have diverged. Instead, the BMW rolled back into traffic, pulling up to a red light. It was 11:15 p.m. at the intersection of East Flamingo Road and Cova Lane, right in front of the Maxim Hotel. A white four-door late-model Cadillac pulled up quietly on their right passenger side. The rear window rolled down. Before anyone in the BMW could register the movement, a .40 caliber Glock 22 erupted into a deafening flash of gunfire. "12 rounds tore through the night air. 4 of those bullets slammed directly into 2Pac Shakur, shattering his right hand. The bullets tore through his pelvis and thigh and punctured his right lung. Suge Knight was grazed in the head by a fragment, but Tupac absorbed the devastating brunt of the ambush. As the white Cadillac screeched away into the dark Nevada night, tires smoking, the most magnetic voice in modern music slumped over, drowning in his own blood. What followed over the next 6 days inside the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada was an agonizing, desperate battle for survival. Doctors placed Tupac into a medically induced coma, performing multiple emergency surgeries to stop catastrophic internal bleeding. Machines breathed for him. Outside the hospital doors, hundreds of grieving fans, media crews, and onlookers gathered. Inside, his body fought valiantly against massive trauma, but the damage was simply too severe. On Friday afternoon, September 13th, 1996, after suffering internal hemorrhaging that overwhelmed his vital signs, 2Pac Shakur was pronounced dead.
Suspects or motive in the murder of rapper and actor 2Pac Shakur, who died last Friday the 13th after being gunned down in a...
He was 25 years old, and almost instantly, the official investigation hit a titanic, impenetrable stone wall built of fear, corruption, and an unyielding street code. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department faced an atmosphere of total silence. The dozens of witnesses riding in the death row convoy directly behind 2Pac's car claimed they saw nothing, remember nothing, or refused to cooperate. The street underworld closed ranks. Investigators chased wild, contradictory conspiracy theories. The primary suspect from that night, Orlando Anderson, denied any involvement and was never charged. Less than 2 years later, Anderson was killed in an unrelated gang shootout in Compton, taking any direct first-hand confession to the grave with him. For over 25 years, the case grew cold. The files gathered dust in municipal archives. Detectives retired, witnesses passed away, and the murder of 2Pac Shakur transformed from an active investigation into a modern American myth. The world was left with endless speculation, but zero accountability. It seemed the truth had vanished forever into the asphalt of Flamingo Road. History, however, has a stubborn refusal to stay buried. Decades ticked past. Key players grew old, wrote memoirs, and spoke out in documentary interviews when they believed the statute of limitations on their secrets had expired. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis began openly boasting about orchestrating the retaliatory hit. He thought he was untouchable, cashing in on his own infamy. Instead, he talked himself right into a jail cell. Decades after the world lost its most magnetic lyricist, a Clark County grand jury indicted Keefe D. for first-degree murder. Legal battles, extensive evidence reviews, and delayed trial dates have kept the legal drama churning, reminding the public that time does not heal all wounds. Sometimes it merely exposes them to the air. Yet, as legal proceedings crawl forward, we are forced to ask, what is justice really for a figure of myth? 2Pac Shakur cannot be brought back by a gavel strike or a prison sentence. His legacy transcends the courtroom drama of his final night. He remains an eternal cultural archetype. He predicted his own end because he understood the lethal gravity of the world he inhabited. He looked death in the eyes and dared it to make him immortal. The smoke has long since cleared from Flamingo Road, but the echo of those shots still reverberates. 2Pac Shakur is gone, but his ghost continues to watch over a world that is still, to this very day, trying to figure out how to protect its most dangerous, brilliant stars.